Hello everyone, back tuning into today's first video, doing JMA Friday for today's first video. So as on a Friday, we're having your month ahead look ahead, and this actually takes us into the opening couple of days of August, can you believe? So we're just about getting to the final month of the summer of 2019. With the 30-day updates now. So we'll see what the JMA has got to say about weather next month, and then we'll have a look at the CFS V2. We'll compare the two and see what's going on. So that's what we're doing for the first video, and then the second video, of course, coming up later on this afternoon, we'll be having a look at the weather for the next week to 10 days. That's going to be your week to 10 day video update. Alright, so we'll start off with the JMA 500 millibar height anomalies from the North Pole view down, broken down into weekly periods. So this is the North Pole of the Northern Hemisphere just here. Middle latitudes of the Northern Hemisphere are around there. So blue is extrapolated to below average heights, which is low pressure, yellow, orange and red, extrapolating to above average heights, which is high pressure. These are broken down into weekly periods, so the first weekly period will take us from the 5th today through to the 12th of July. So we see that we've got this big blocking area of high pressure still sitting to our north. That's been a sort of omnipresent feature over the past few weeks and months. High pressure sitting over Greenland and the North Pole. Trough of low pressure in the middle of the Atlantic, and we've also got a trough of low pressure to our east-northeast as well. So it's a very complicated chart, but we're doing something a little bit like that with the flow and with the jet stream. There should be quite a lot of dry weather because we're building this ridge down through the middle of the Atlantic. So we've got a mid-Atlantic ridge there feeding into the blocking area of high pressure over Greenland. So the Atlantic is blocked off. There should be quite a lot of dry weather in the weekend. It may be a little bit showery at times. And overall rather cool as well, because the winds are going to be coming in kind of like from a northwesterly type direction. So rather cool, but dry conditions in the next week. Then we go through to week 2. This one takes us from the 12th to the 19th of July, with below average heights from the Atlantic and into the UK as well. The jet stream is going like that, so it looks very unsettled there actually as we're going through to week 2, the 12th to the 19th of July. Much more unsettled with low pressure driving in from off the Atlantic. It's a westerly type setup, and that will bring showers or maybe even some longer spells of rain. And then go through to weeks 3 and 4. This takes us from the 19th of July to the 2nd of August, and this time it's a 2-week anomaly, so it could be a bit transitional. This time I have below average heights kind of in the middle of the Atlantic up towards Greenland. Otherwise, there's not a great deal to go on, but I would suggest that the transition from what we have in week 2, that which is quite an unsettled scenario to this, probably implies that as we're going along through that week 3-4 period, we're getting more of an influence from high pressure. The low pressure is kind of like becoming centred in the middle of the Atlantic, I think. So overall, I would guess that this is implying heights are rising close to the northwest of Europe. So if anything, as we go through to late July, I would think that's hinting at weather becoming a bit warmer and a bit drier as well. So it's a little bit difficult to interpret a 2-weekly anomaly because there can be changes going on from sort of week 3 through to week 4. So it's a little bit difficult when you have an anomaly over 1 week. Going back to week 1, this is the tropical mid-latitude view. So the UK and Ireland in the top right-hand corner of the chart as you're looking at it there. We can't see the North Pole view with this. That's off the chart up here. But we know that for this week, from the 5th through to the 12th of July, we have got large amounts of northern blocking sort of up there. Lots of high pressure going on around there. And that does extend this ridge down to the west of the UK with low pressure kind of like here, but also low pressure over Scandinavia and northeast parts of Europe, which you also can't see all that well, but we can see it actually as we come over to here. So the coming week, we've got a ridge in the middle of the Atlantic, kind of blocking off the Atlantic a little bit. You expect a fair amount of dry weather, but also quite cool. So temperature anomalies in the week ahead from the 5th to the 12th of July are coming out average to, for northern areas, a little bit below average, and quite a cool week coming up across many central and northern parts of Europe as well. Precipitation anomalies are dry though. The Atlantic is blocked off, so it's a relatively dry week ahead, just that the temperatures are a little bit on the cool side. Then we go through to week 2, which is the 12th to the 19th of July, looking more unsettled, low pressure coming in off the Atlantic with the westerlies. So you'd expect this to be an unsettled week. Temperature anomalies are close to average, a little bit above average, but not particularly big deviation. It is more unsettled. Precipitation anomalies in week 2 are going above average. So it's becoming wetter as we go through up towards the middle part of July. And then we've got this week 3-4 anomaly taking us from the 19th of July to the 2nd of August, with below average heights in the Atlantic just there. Otherwise, not a great deal to go. But we thought probably, as it's a 2-week anomaly, probably implying that above average heights are kind of like returning. Temperature anomalies are average to possibly into going a bit warmer than average. It's warmer than average just here. If you come over here, it's warmer than average too. So I think overall probably hinting that temperatures are going quite warm in the second half of July, but it still looks rather unsettled actually. So possibly my idea that as we go through this 2-weekly anomaly, it's becoming more settled. Maybe that's wrong, but again, it's a 2-week anomaly, so it could be something like week 3 is very wet, and then week 4 has a drying trend. So again, with a 2-week anomaly, it's always rather difficult to interpret what's happening. I still think that overall, probably by the end of July, we may be seeing signs of higher pressure building in. Let's have a look at the CFS V2 next and see how that compares. Again, these are 500 millibar heights, which are broken down to week periods. The first week period takes us from the 5th to the 11th of July. The coming week with above average heights over and to the west of the country, below average heights to our east and northeast. So very similar between the two models actually for this week. The Atlantic is blocked off, so it should be relatively dry. Not particularly warm. Winds are in from the northwest, so it's not going to be a heat wave, but it should be fairly dry. And in the sunshine, of course, because the sun is very, very strong in July. In the sunshine, it will feel relatively warm. This is week 2. Now, this is a difference to what the JMA is showing. This is the 12th to the 18th of July. At this point, the JMA looks really very unsettled. The CFS actually has this big ridge of above average heights, though, centred over top of the country of the UK. And low pressure is out in the Atlantic and also to our northeast. So the flow of the jet is going something a little bit like that. So you'd expect a lot of dry and warm weather there from the 12th to the 18th of July, with high pressure centred over the top of the country. That looks like a pretty dry and warm week. Then we're through to week 3, which is the 19th to the 25th of July. Again, hinting at above average heights being centred almost over the top of the country. Below average heights are away to the north. The jet stream being pushed northwards as well. So it looks like high pressure is dominating here with the CFS as we go through July. Week 4 is a little bit different. It's the 26th of July to the 1st of August. Above average heights and appearing around Greenland, around Iceland, I should say. So just implying it's going a bit cooler and a bit more unsettled there through the final days of the month, perhaps. Temperature anomalies in the week ahead from the 5th to the 11th of July. Bit cooler than average for the north. Still a little bit warmer than average for England, Wales and Ireland too. Scotland is a bit cooler than average. A very cool week coming up across much of northern northeastern Europe as well, well below average temperature anomalies. Then into week 2, which is the 12th to the 18th of July, warmer than average for the UK and Ireland and through central parts of Europe as well. So that looks like quite a warm, maybe potentially rather hot week from the 12th to the 18th of July. It is at odds with what the JMA is showing for that week though, which is a much more unsettled scenario with the Japanese model. Then we've got week 3, which is the 19th to the 25th of July. That one also looking quite significantly warmer than average. So this is a pretty warm July coming up for CFS is right, and this goes on into week 4, which is the 26th of July to the 1st of August. Even though it looks a little bit more unsettled on the 500 millibar height anomaly, overall the temperature anomaly is still holding up kind of like a degree or so above average. Precipitation wise, the coming week from the 5th through to the 11th of July, drier than average for many parts of the UK and Ireland as well, and still drier than average into week 2 as well, but 12th to the 18th of July, when the JMA has it wetter than average, the CFS has it drier than average. Week 3, of course, as we go further out, the signal's weakening. So week 3, 19th to 25th of July, overall close to average with precipitation anomalies. And then week 4, which is the 26th of July to 1st of August, that one is also close to average, although it hints possibly at being a little bit west average to the far northwest of the country. But again, means week 3 for precipitation anomalies are always very, very weak. So, well, we've got agreement for week 1, which is going to be a relatively dry but rather cool week coming up, although it will be pleasantly warm in the sunshine. Disagreement starting as early as week 2. We've got the JMA looking unsettled with showers and longer spells of rain. The CFS looking much drier and much warmer. And then the uncertainty continues into the second half of July. So this is all the way along. This July has proved to be a rather difficult month to pin down, and it still goes on even though we're 5 days into the month. It still is proving to be a rather challenging month to pin down overall, but I think there will be quite a bit of dry and warm weather on offer this month. That's certainly what we've gone for within the July month-ahead forecast. I don't think it's going to be too bad a month, but then again, nothing like the hot July that we had last year. We're not going to have a repeat of that very, very hot July that we had last year, but overall I don't think it's going to be too bad. I think there will be plenty of useful weather within this July, and as yet towards the final stage of the month, kind of like final week to 10 days, then we do have a lot of uncertainty at the moment. But I think the trends are reasonably okay anyway for this July. We're not seeing much sign at the moment that we're going to go into the sort of deluge that we had back in June. Famous last words, and of course we shall see. It's only a snapshot of what these models are showing. They could look very different next week. Any forecast beyond sort of 5 days, big health warning required. So it's a snapshot of what these two models are showing today, but next week they might look very different. We'll be back later on with your week to 10 day video update. That takes into the middle of July with more sort of reliable time frame models. Right, see you later on then. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.